All right, g'day guys and gals. Welcome to another episode of Gear Talk on Pedals of Perth. I'm joined today by Jamie from Incomplete. How you going, big fella?
Good, Scott. Good.
Thanks for having us down. Won't stuff around. We'll get straight into it. So tell us about the guitar you're playing, man.
This is my main one I use. It's a Godan, made in Canada. I absolutely love it. It's big and heavy, which is good for me because I like guitar. It doesn't feel like I haven't got one on, but this is nice and heavy.
Like a bit of meat in your hands?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
I just like the sound and the weight of it, and it's great. So, yeah, I've got that. I've also got a Yamaha Image, which I don't play live anymore. It's 30 years old now, and it's just too good to get out of the house. I'm so paranoid about damaging it.
So she's been retired and lives at home?
No, only for recording. So
okay.
The sound of it recording-wise is beautiful, but yeah, it's just too nice to put out at home.
Awesome.
So, and I've also got a Schecter as well, which is my backup, and I have used occasionally. Yeah, so that's the guitars. Amp-wise.
Well, before we get to the amps, what have you done anything to the guitar itself?
Nah.
No, so that's how you bought it. So
stock standard as I bought it. I do love the humbucker in the bridge. It's got a real good mix of sound, so you do get the real beefy sound, which we need in our band with that humbucker sound. But you know the single coil pickups particularly on the neck one is just as sweet as. So,
okay, awesome.
And you can tap the humbucker, so you get that single coil at the back too if you want. So.
Gauge string are you using?
They are 1154s. They're the Ernie Ball Slinky something or other. I can't remember the name now off the top of my head.
11 to 54.
Yeah.
That's pretty chunky.
So they're pretty chunky, but then again, as I said, I'm a big guy, and I've always been a bass player up until a few years ago, coming across on guitar here.
We won't hold that against you.
So I am heavy-handed when it comes to guitars, and I do break strings pretty regular. So I need something that's going to handle that. And
you're in standard tuning as well?
No, E flat.
Awesome.
So, because I sing flat.
Don't we all?
Yeah, so it's not because of range, it's purely because of inability to hit the right notes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so let's get on to the amp then.
Yeah, so the amp is a Marshall MG100 HCFX. It's a solid state amp, mainly because I couldn't afford a valve amp, but I needed something loud. Our other guitarist, he's got a nice dual rectifier, and I need something to compete. So I play that purely clean. Okay. So no reverb. It's got effects on it, reverb and delay. I don't use none of them. The overdrive sound is actually pretty good, but the effects loop's not that flash. So I thought, right, well, I'll just run it purely clean, no reverb, nothing. Everything's, as you can see, 12 o'clock, most of it.
Just how I love it, mate.
Yeah, and so
always my theory. If you can't get a decent sound at 12 o'clock, you're going to spend all your time tweaking, trying to get that sound.
And that's the thing. And I thought, well, I'm going to muck around with this for ages, and I already have pedals and stuff. Let's try and get decent sound out of those. So different configurations over time has ended up with what I've ended up with now. So.
All right, sweet. Pedals, let's get onto it.
Okay, so your standard chromatic Boss tuner to begin with.
Nice and reliable.
Yeah, it's the industry standard. I think most people have got them, and they're really good. Running into the Boss Mini Wah. I love the Mini Wah. It's exactly the Dunlop Mini Wah.
Yep.
It's exactly the same as your standard wah, but obviously smaller. Because I need the room on the board. Then I run into the noise suppressor, which is used on a loop basis. Okay. So I run on the loop. I run the driver and the metal core, and then back into the suppressor, and then obviously through your modulation pedals. Just the tone is, you don't lose that tone you're going through the other pedals. So. So that's always on, and I run straight into the blues driver. With the blues driver, I've got down with the gain basically at 0. It's like 0.5. It's virtually nothing. So it's almost clean. So with it off, with it on. So you can hear a volume change, but you can hear a slight dirtiness.
Just a little bit of grit.
Just a little bit there, which, it's just a little bit to cut through.
Yep.
I run from that into the metal core. And again, with the metal core, the gain's only on, out of 10, probably 2. It's only relatively low, and I'll find with particularly any metal distortion pedals, the higher the gain, just the muddier the sound, and you can lose, I find anyway, I can lose each individual string. It just gets lost in noise.
And you end up getting lost in the mix as well.
Yeah, you do. And you lose the, a lot of guys will, particularly in metal bands, will, obviously scoop the mids out and so forth, which in a metal context is okay, but for what we do, you need to have that, the drive first, through into the metal core just to distort that sound.
I love the fact that you're using the metal core as well. There's a lot of guys out there that don't like it because it's a digital distortion.
That's right.
But the fact that you're running solid state amp with digital distortion, man, it's something different, and you're making it work for you.
And it's fat. It's running through the driver, and I tried a couple of different ways. I used to try just play the blues driver only with the gain up for a distorted sound, and it's a great sound. But then playing clean, you just lose all that volume.
Yeah.
Then I was running just the metal core. With once again the distortion up, but same problem. Running the two together, end up with a much better mix of sound and a much fatter sound.
Give us a sound bite.
So it's a full sound.
It's huge.
A big sound. Obviously running a reverb pedal there as well, which just gives it that little bit of extra sort of larger feel.
It's nice and aggressive, but not overly.
Exactly, yeah. And as I said, we've got two guitars in the band, so I don't have to carry all of it. Yep. I've got to find a sound between the two of us. We had to find a sound where we can both be heard,
yep.
but by the same token, still keep a big, full, complete sound. So.
Right.
So basically running from there into the modulation pedal. So your Boss Super Chorus.
Everyone loves a Boss chorus.
Oh, I love the chorus. So there's just, and even distorted. I'll use it distorted for a couple little solos and riffs.
Beautiful.
Lovely little sound to it. From there into it's the Zakk Wylde phaser, MXR phaser. Van Halen has one. There's also just your standard phaser. They're all exactly the same, just with a different paint job on the outside of them. And I love the fact that it's only got one knob on it, so it's much easier for me.
And is that going back to your bass player days?
Yeah, basically. Keep it simple and stupid. That's for me. So and really I don't use it much for riffing, more just for the big chords. Or distorted wise. And it also does give a bit of a volume boost. So you can hear the volume cut in and cut out on it. From there into the harmonist. I use the harmonist live really only as an octave.
Okay.
On octave pedal. Because I sing as well, so you got to get down and reconfigure it for different harmonies and so forth. And when I'm doing that, no one's talking to the crowd. So
I did used to have one, especially the PS6, and the thing just confused the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it is confusing, and I haven't used it for any recording yet, but I probably will.
Yep.
But at this stage, I haven't. I'm just really just using it as for octaves. And occasionally doubling up a riff or something like that, where you just want to fill the sound out a bit more. Running from there into the analog delay, the Wazacraft one, which I actually only use on the standard classic setting anyway. I don't use the more the modern setting.
Yep,
but
I've got the Waza delay myself, and exactly the same. I use it on the classic setting, and to my ears, it's beat so many different pedals. I've had the carbon copies, everything. I freaking love this pedal, man.
I tried the carbon copy. I tried the DD3, the DD7, all sorts of stuff. That was the one I really liked. More so, just the decay on it, the delay and the way it decayed and so forth, just seemed more natural to me. I just really like the sound of it.
It's got a nice warmth to the trail.
And I don't use it a lot. Occasionally for solos and the odd riff here and there, and I don't have it on particularly long delays or we're not playing U2 or anything like that here. So, but it's just got a really nice warmth to it that I enjoy. From there, I run that into the reverb pedal, which I have on all the time. I only have it on a relatively low setting so that you get that slight large room. No reverb.
Yeah.
So, and main reason for that is that I like the fact that you can vary that every now and again, and I can turn it on. If I want to turn it off, I can turn it off.
Yep.
When it's on the amp, you can't.
Now I'm jumping ahead of you here. Mm-hmm. Please tell me you're using the feedback booster as a feedbacker.
I have occasionally, but normally we play so loud I don't have to worry about getting feedback.
I recently picked one of these up. And as soon as I got to that function of it, I was just like, oh man, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, you have to do it. Most of the time I use that is because if we're playing a gig and I want a bit more guitar through the foldback and the sound guy thinks he knows better and doesn't give it to me, I go, right, well, fuck, you won't turn that on. So, with it's normally through this. Or. And it will feed back eventually.
And we must actually state you're running at lower volumes than normal.
Absolutely.
Just to make things a little bit easier on us.
Sitting on about 1.5 as opposed to live, it probably sits on about 4. When we're rehearsing here, probably about 3 to 4 as well.
Beautiful.
So basically, that's the rig. It's been developed over probably a couple of years, really, mostly through necessity and lack of funds. If funds were abundant, there'd be probably a $4,000 or $5,000 amp sitting there and all sorts of stuff. But as it's turned out, I think the sound works pretty well within the context of the band.
Look, man, it's something I've sort of said quite a few times, man. It's not what you got. It's it's using what you've got and just making it work for you, and that's where the magic comes from.
Yeah, for sure. And look, even the way you play. I mean, you can play this and you'll sound like you, and I can pick up your stuff and sound like me. A lot of times it just comes down to the actual guitarist and the way they play as well. Every now and again, Mark and I will play each other's guitars will set through each other's different amps, and we don't sound like the other one. We sound like ourselves. So it comes down to how you play yourself as well too.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Whoops. Cheers.
Thanks very much for coming on, man. Appreciate for inviting us down, and stay tuned, guys, and we'll move on to one of the other guys next.
Beautiful.
Cheers. All right, g'day guys and gals. Welcome back. We're here with Ryan from Incomplete. How you going, mate? Thanks for coming, or thanks for inviting us down. So let's get straight into it, man. What bass are you running?
I go for the Mark Hopper's signature Fender. I've had it for ages, but it's just one I use all the time.
Yep.
That's it. It's nice and light, comfortable. Thrash it. It can hack it.
Have you customized it in any way, or it's stock standard?
It's as is. Yeah. It's I like the way that pickups sound. Hadn't had to do anything to it. I've replaced a few bits because I've just smashed it, but no upgrades or anything like that.
Awesome. And I got to say, man, I am digging the Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Fucking that rocks, man. All right, what gauge strings are you running?
I use the Power Slinkies.
Yep.
They're nice and fat. They never break. They last a long time.
And just on that, how often are you changing your strings?
Depends how many gigs we do. For jamming, I just run them until they whatever. But for gigs, every month, 2 months, 3 months.
That's very uncommon for a bass player. Normally it's years.
Yeah, I'm always stressing they don't snap, but on stage I don't want it to snap. I don't want it to carry around all these extra spare guitars and shit. So,
do you prefer the sound when they're a little bit worn in, or do you like it when they're new?
Oh no, they're not. I like it worn in, a couple of sessions through. Then it's wicked.
Awesome. All right. Let's jump straight into what amp you running, man.
The Hartkey 3500, 350 watts. It just cranks. It's nice and small, heavy, but they I never have to turn it up past 2 most of the time. But yeah, I just like the sound that comes out of it. Same deal. I bought that same time as this, and just hasn't had any issues. It's just hammered it.
And how are you running that? Fairly clean?
Yeah, pretty much. Just same deal. Most of them are 12, except the compression's a bit down, but just not nothing too outrageous. It's just pretty standard.
Okay, sweet, man. Cab you running?
Just the 4x10, just Hartkey as well.
Beautiful.
So
matching
combo,
cab,
yeah.
Beautiful.
And that cranks as well. I just like the sound of the Hartkeys. They're really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we're not running a huge lot of pedals here, but what do you actually got?
Typical bass player, just simple.
No comment.
Yeah. Just the Boss overdrive, and sometimes I use the Crybaby wah. Not too often, but jams we just try to bring it in. But the overdrive, some songs I use it, but mostly I just play it straight through.
All right. Well, how about you give us a bit of a soundbite? This is with the overdrive. That sounds brutal, man.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Do you run the wah with the overdrive, or separate, or both?
One song in the intro, it might work. Sometimes it's usually together. I don't use the wah a lot, but usually the overdrive will be on.
All right, we'll give us a demo of that too. Beautiful, man. I love it. So, awesome. All right, well, that's Ryan. Nice and short and sweet, mate, but he is a bass player, so we've got to do it. Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
On to the next guy. All right, g'day, guys and gals. We're back again with Mark from Incomplete.
How are you?
Awesome, man. Thanks for inviting us down. So, once again, let's not muck around. We'll just jump straight into it. What guitar are you running, man?
This is a BC Rich Mockingbird, the exotic, and my wife bought me this, and it's been pretty much my mainstay in this band.
That's a freaking awesome wife.
Yeah, she is, yeah. It's lovely. So I keep it on with a couple of tips for some kids out there. If your strap keeps falling off, just put some bread clip things on there. Right? Stops that shit from falling off. It's good.
I love it, man. Beautiful.
At the back as well.
Tip of the week.
That's it. So it's cool. Don't need to buy those expensive strap locks. The old way, man.
Awesome. I noticed you're running EMGs.
Yep, that's right. I got the Kerry King EMG special with the booster, the extra bit of power down the back there. So if you put that there, it's just a normal 85, but if you give that, it just gives it that extra
sweet
pop. So it's pretty good. And I've got, that was the pickup selector. We used to be down there, which I put the Kerry King booster switch down there, and I moved the pickup selector up there so you can do a flick a lot easier. So I've got Perry Ormsby to do that, and most people will know who Perry Ormsby is.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Perry Ormsby is a local luthier who makes some seriously awesome incredible guitars. Right. Not just 17 strings, but we'll talk about that at a later date. So anything else you've done to it?
No, that's it. Just, I love it because it's got a straight through neck. How fucking cool is that?
Yeah. They're a beautiful guitar. Yeah. And as we said in another episode, big fan of the Mockingbird myself. Slash and Terminator 2.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that's right. Which is actually in the Hard Rock Hotel in Bali. If anyone is going to Bali, check it out.
Awesome.
Up there.
I'm going to Bali.
So there you go.
What gauge strings are you using?
I normally use Super Slinkies, Ernie balls, but at the moment I've got some Diodaros on there.
Okay.
Just for jamming out, and I didn't have any Super Slinkies at the time.
Okay. So whatever will do.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, sweet. Let's move on to this seriously, cool looking amp, man.
Yep. That's it's just your standard dual recto. I've had it about 12 years. Hasn't missed a beat except for when I auditioned for this band. It didn't work at all. I had to borrow an amp from the studio, and then I got it fixed up. And eventually, it's got it retubed. It sounds great.
Okay, sweet. And how do you run it?
Just run it. There's 6L6 valves in it. I usually just run the 3 channels, and usually use one as a booster, sort of in the mid-song to give it a bit more dynamic, and I've got a solo channel for boosting the lead breaks and shit.
Okay, sweet. So you're running it reasonably clean, or you dirty?
No, always dirty. Our songs are generally all dirty, and we only have very few clean bits. That's about it.
All right, how about you give us a soundbite?
All right. That's one channel. I've got the other channel, which is not as my main sort of refuge channel, and the other one gives it a bit extra on choruses and stuff.
Yeah. Really nice articulation as well. Like you'll hear every single string.
Yeah,
every note
cuts through. That's what's cool about it. You don't have to have it that loud. You can really hear the tone. So that's what's really great about that amp.
All right, beautiful. And I noticed you're running a few little effects down here. What have we got?
Yep. So I've got just digital delay. I think most guitar players have got that in their toolkit. I've got an harmonist PS5 or is it PS6, which I don't really use as a harmonist. I usually use as like a Digitech whammy bar, because I don't usually like playing guitars with whammy bars, because I find sometimes when I do bends they go out of tune, and I just don't like whammy bars that much. I like set bridges.
All right, well, how about you give us a bit of a demo?
Cool effect, like it's not
awesome.
Just
instant Tom Morello.
That's right. It's not just a whammy bar. It's got a bit extra.
Awesome.
The other one's just a super shifter, which I just use as It's a pitch shifter pretty much just for.
Well, give us a demo of that.
That's about it.
Awesome.
Yep.
And running the classic TU tuner.
Yeah, that's right. And a mini wah, which Jamie put me onto. So I used to have a big massive wah, but I've got a small pedal board, so I put the small mini wah on it. You know, it's been a great little addition as well, because my one fucked up and that's fantastic there.
And it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it.
That's right, ladies.
Well, give us a demo. Killer, man. Well, awesome. Thanks for having us down.
Thank you.
And how about you play us out, man?
We take the distance because we know it's right to start.